Joni Lamb, a renowned evangelist, now faces a harsh reality that could break even the most resilient person. Recently, her emotional reaction to receiving a life sentence went viral, leaving fans and followers stunned. What does this mean for the legacy of one of Christianity's most influential voices? In this video, we explore Joni's shocking reaction to a life sentence in November 2023. Rumors surrounding Joni Lamb's career end. In recent months, there have been growing whispers in the Christian community about Joni Lamb's potential retirement. For years, Joni had been a central figure in the world of Christian broadcasting, a beloved voice known for her inspiring messages and dynamic presence on stage. But recently, something changed. Fans and followers began to notice that Joni was making fewer public appearances. Her usual speaking engagements and appearances on her ministry's broadcasts became less frequent. People couldn't help but wonder if something was wrong. Rumors began to circulate that Joni Lamb's health might be failing, with some suggesting that she had been struggling with a serious illness. These whispers only intensified as time went on. It seemed like Joni's once vibrant energy was becoming more subdued, and fans began to speculate that her absence from the limelight wasn't just a temporary break, but perhaps the beginning of a permanent retreat. Those close to Joni had long praised her for her dedication to her ministry, her family, and her faith. However, as her schedule lightened, some began to question whether the constant pressure and responsibilities of leading such a large organization had taken a toll on her. It was impossible to ignore the signs that Joni's health might be affecting her ability to continue at the level she had before. The rumors also suggested that her declining health could be leading to a transition in leadership within the ministry. Many speculated that Joni had already begun preparing her successor, possibly someone from within her close-knit circle or her family, who could carry on the legacy she had worked so hard to build. Others wondered if the ministry would take a different direction altogether. These discussions, though largely based on speculation, fueled a sense of unease among her followers. Fans who had always admired her strength and resilience were left wondering what the future held for her and the ministry she had built. Some expressed their concern over her health and hoped that it wasn't as serious as the rumors suggested, while others feared the worst. The situation left a lot of unanswered questions hanging in the air. But one thing was certain: Joni Lamb's absence from the public eye had sparked a wave of speculation that could not be ignored. The fictional announcement of Joni Lamb's retirement. It was an ordinary day that slowly turned into one of the most emotional moments in Christian broadcasting. Joni Lamb, the face of a global ministry, had long been known for her warmth, energy, and devotion to both her calling and her followers. But the sudden shift in her presence on stage and behind the scenes had left everyone wondering, what was going on with Joni? It all began when Joni, visibly more subdued than usual, called for a special broadcast. Fans, unaware of what was coming, tuned in eagerly, expecting to hear the latest news about the ministry's projects, or perhaps a motivational word from their beloved leader. The stage was set in the familiar setting of the studio that had seen so many heartfelt moments. Joni at her desk, surrounded by soft lighting, her signature smile briefly lighting up her face. "Today, I have something very important to share with you," Joni began, her voice a little softer than usual, betraying a sense of something more profound than the usual message. The crowd, both in the studio and at home, leaned in, sensing the gravity in her words. It was a moment that felt as if time had slowed down, as though the anticipation of what she was about to say would forever change the course of her ministry. "I've always believed that God has a plan for each of us," she continued, "and for years I've been blessed beyond measure to serve in the way that I have, to speak into your lives, and to watch this ministry grow and touch countless hearts across the globe. But now, it's time for me to step back and take on a new role. I'm announcing today, after much prayer and reflection, that I will be retiring from my position as the primary leader of our ministry." A hushed silence fell over the crowd. The room seemed to breathe with disbelief. People at home watched, their hearts racing, some unsure of what they were hearing. Joni Lamb, the vibrant, passionate leader they had come to know and love, was retiring? The very idea seemed unfathomable. She had been such a pillar of strength, her voice a constant in the ever-changing world of Christian media. How could she possibly step down? Joni's eyes welled with tears as she looked directly into the camera, her usual strength replaced by a vulnerability many hadn't seen before. "I know this is unexpected," she said softly, "and it's not easy. But I believe that this is God's plan for me at this time. I have been blessed to serve, and now it's time for others to take the reins." She paused, her emotions clearly getting the best of her as she wiped away a tear. This decision is not made out of weakness, but out of obedience to God's will. For so long I have worked alongside my incredible family, and now I believe it is their time to step forward and lead with the same passion and heart that I've tried to lead with. I trust them, and I trust God." The announcement left many in shock. Joni Lamb's retirement felt impossible to process. For years she had been more than just a leader. She had been a mother, a mentor, a guiding force for thousands. Her voice had echoed through television screens, lifting spirits and changing lives. How could it all end so suddenly? As Joni continued speaking, she mentioned her deep gratitude for the people who had supported her throughout her career. She thanked her family, the volunteers, the staff, and of course, the countless supporters who had followed her ministry from the beginning. "You have been my rock," she said, looking towards her family in the front row. "I could not have done this without each and every one of you." The audience began to stir. There were some tears, some gasps, as the reality of the situation started to sink in. This wasn't just a simple announcement. It was a turning point, a pivotal moment in the ministry's history. Joni had always been the face of the movement, and now, her stepping down felt like the end of an era. But Joni was not finished yet. She smiled, though it was a bittersweet smile. "While I am stepping away from the leadership role, this is not goodbye forever. I will still be here, serving in a different capacity, supporting the ministry as it moves forward. I will continue to be a part of this family, and my love and commitment to each of you will never change." Her words seemed to offer some comfort, but the reality of her absence was already starting to hit. Who would fill her shoes? Who could possibly match the energy, the passion, and the grace that Joni Lamb had brought to the ministry for so many years? Joni then addressed the future of the ministry. "I have full confidence in the next generation of leaders that will carry this work forward. My family, my team, and our dedicated staff are more than ready to take the ministry to new heights. I have been blessed to see how this ministry has touched lives, and I know it will continue to do so for years to come." Her family, her children, and close associates stood beside her, their faces a mixture of pride and sadness. They had all known this moment was coming, but hearing it spoken aloud was still a heavy weight to bear. Joni had built this empire from the ground up, and now it was time for them to carry it forward. As the broadcast ended, the world was left to process the news. Fans and followers flooded social media, their messages a mix of sadness, gratitude, and uncertainty. Some expressed their support, understanding that Joni's decision was made with God's guidance. Others, though, struggled to accept the idea of a ministry without her at the helm. What would happen next? That was the big question. Could the ministry continue to thrive without Joni's strong leadership? Or would her retirement mark the beginning of a new era, one that could look very different from the one she had created? Only time would tell. The future of Joni Lamb's ministry was now in the hands of a new generation. Though Joni was retiring, her legacy was far from over. Her influence would live on in the hearts of those who had been touched by her work, and as she moved forward into this new chapter of her life, the world could only wait to see what she would do next. Family and fan reactions. The news of Joni Lamb's retirement spread like wildfire, and it didn't take long for reactions to pour in from both her family and her vast, loyal fan base. For many, the announcement felt surreal. Joni Lamb had been the face of the ministry for so long that the thought of her stepping away was difficult to grasp. It was as if the foundation beneath them was shifting, and no one was quite sure what the future held. Joni's family, particularly her children and close associates, found themselves in a whirlwind of emotions. They had all seen the behind-the-scenes struggles that led up to this moment, but hearing Joni speak those words out loud, the words that confirmed she was officially stepping away from the helm, was a bittersweet experience. Her children, who had grown up watching their mother pour her heart and soul into the ministry, were filled with pride, but there was also an undeniable sense of loss. Her daughter, who had always been close to her mother, held back tears during the announcement. It was hard for her to imagine a world without her mother in the same role, guiding the ministry with the passion and energy she had always done. Her husband, who had stood by her side for years, was equally emotional. The journey they had taken together had been long and filled with both triumphs and challenges. Joni's retirement marked a major turning point in their lives, and while he supported her decision, it was clear that the change wasn't easy for him either. He had watched her work tirelessly to build the ministry from the ground up, and now, with the baton being passed to a new generation, it was hard to fathom what the future would look like. The Lamb family, while supportive, were also left to navigate this uncharted territory. Joni's eldest son, who had been groomed to take over the ministry in the future, felt the weight of the responsibility now resting on his shoulders. He knew that, while his mother was retiring, she would still be there to guide him behind the scenes. Still, the thought of stepping into such a big role was overwhelming. Joni had built an empire, and now it was up to him and his siblings to ensure that it continued to thrive. It was a lot to process for a young family who had grown up in the spotlight. As the news spread across social media, fans of Joni Lamb's ministry reacted in a variety of ways. Many expressed deep sadness at the thought of her stepping away from the leadership role. They had followed her for years, tuning in to her broadcasts, attending her events, and supporting her ministry. For them, Joni wasn't just a figurehead. She was a mentor, a guide, and a source of inspiration. To hear that she would no longer be leading them in the same capacity felt like a personal loss. Some fans took to social media to express their gratitude for Joni's years of service. They shared stories of how her messages had helped them through tough times, how her teachings had strengthened their faith, and how they had been inspired by her unwavering dedication. "Thank you, Joni, for everything," one fan wrote. "Your words have been a guiding light in my life. I will forever be grateful for the impact you've had on me and my family." However, not all reactions were filled with support. Some fans voiced their concerns about the future of the ministry. For many, Joni was the heart and soul of the ministry. Her passion, her energy, and her leadership were what made the ministry so successful. Without her at the helm, some fans worried that the ministry might lose its direction or become something unrecognizable. "What will happen to the ministry now?" one follower asked. "Can anyone really fill Joni's shoes?" Others, though, were more optimistic. They understood that change was inevitable and that the ministry was in good hands with the next generation of leaders. "I trust that the ministry will continue to do great things under the leadership of Joni's family," another fan commented. "It's a new chapter, and I'm excited to see where it goes." There were also fans who acknowledged the difficulty of the transition. "I've followed Joni for years, and I can't imagine watching her step away," one follower wrote. "But I know she's made this decision for a reason, and I support her no matter what." As the days went on, the reactions continued to flood in. Many fans shared their hopes for the future of the ministry, voicing their desire for it to continue growing and impacting lives in the same way Joni had done for so long. "I hope that the next generation of leaders will carry on Joni's legacy," one fan wrote. "Her heart for people and her passion for spreading God's love is something that should never be forgotten." For Joni, the outpouring of support from her fans and family meant the world. It reminded her of the impact she had made throughout her career. While stepping away from the leadership role was a difficult decision, seeing how much love and appreciation surrounded her in this time of transition helped ease some of the uncertainty. She knew the ministry was in capable hands, and she could trust that her family would continue to carry the torch. Though Joni's retirement was a time of mixed emotions, it also represented a new beginning. As she took a step back from the spotlight, her fans and family rallied around her, offering support, love, and encouragement. While the future of the ministry remained uncertain for some, one thing was clear: Joni's legacy would never be forgotten. She had touched the lives of countless individuals, and her influence would continue to resonate for years to come. As for Joni, while she had stepped away from her leadership role, she wasn't disappearing completely. Fans could take comfort in knowing that she would still be involved in the ministry in a behind-the-scenes capacity, offering guidance and support to the next generation of leaders. The transition was difficult, but it was also a necessary one. The future of Joni Lamb's ministry was bright, even as it moved into new hands. And with the love and support of her family and fans, Joni knew that her work had left an indelible mark on the world. What's next for Joni Lamb and her ministry? What's next for Joni Lamb and her ministry is a question that has been on the minds of many ever since the announcement of her stepping down from the leadership role. After decades of passionate service, guiding countless followers with her messages of faith, love, and prosperity, Joni's decision to retire from active leadership left many wondering what the future holds for her ministry and the impact she has made. The path ahead for both her and her ministry is uncertain, but there is a sense of optimism and anticipation surrounding the transition. Joni Lamb's ministry has always been a symbol of strength, resilience, and spiritual growth. Over the years, she has built a vast network of supporters and followers who trust in her teachings and have seen their lives transformed by the principles she advocates. Joni's ministry has touched the hearts of millions, offering hope and inspiration to those who have struggled with faith, illness, or personal hardship. Her programs, books, and conferences have been the cornerstone of her success, and her influence has extended far beyond the church walls, reaching individuals all over the world. The question now is how the ministry will continue to thrive after Joni's departure from active leadership. The leadership role is being passed on to the next generation, and while it's clear that Joni's influence will always be felt, there are questions about how her children and the new leadership team will shape the direction of the ministry moving forward. Joni's eldest son, who has worked alongside her for years, has been identified as the person most likely to take the reins of the ministry. However, while he has been groomed for this position, there is a sense of uncertainty in how he will navigate this transition. He has big shoes to fill. As his mother has been the heart and soul of the ministry for so long, his leadership will need to not only carry forward Joni's teachings, but also build upon them, adapting to the changing needs of a new generation of followers. The challenges of this new leadership role are not lost on Joni's family. Her son is aware of the responsibility that comes with stepping into such a significant position. He has seen firsthand the impact that his mother's teachings have had on the world, and he knows that maintaining the integrity of the ministry is crucial. However, it's also clear that the next phase of the ministry may require some changes to meet the demands of today's world. For example, the digital landscape has changed how ministries connect with their audiences. The rise of social media, online streaming, and digital content has transformed the way people engage with spiritual leaders and teachings. Joni's ministry, while successful in traditional formats, will need to adapt to this new era. It's likely that her son and the leadership team will focus on expanding the ministry's digital presence, reaching people where they are, on their phones, laptops, and through social media platforms. This would help to ensure that the teachings of the ministry continue to resonate with younger audiences and those who may not have access to traditional forms of media. There's also a significant focus on community building that could shape the future of the ministry. While the ministry has always been a source of inspiration, the new leadership may look at ways to create more interactive and engaging experiences for followers. This could include more live-streamed events, virtual prayer meetings, and interactive workshops, which would allow followers to connect in real time with the ministry's leadership. Given the global reach of Joni's teachings, it's crucial that the ministry maintains a strong online presence to continue its mission and expand its impact. Beyond the digital realm, the ministry may also shift its focus to address some of the pressing issues of today's world. For instance, social justice, mental health, and community outreach are topics that have gained increasing importance in recent years. It's possible that the new leadership will seek to incorporate these elements into the ministry's message, helping to guide people through the challenges they face in the modern world. While Joni's teachings have always centered around faith, prosperity, and personal empowerment, the next phase of the ministry may delve deeper into addressing real-world issues in a way that resonates with today's generation. Another consideration for the future of Joni Lamb's ministry is the possibility of establishing a more collaborative approach to leadership. Joni has always been a powerful solo figure, but as the world of ministry continues to evolve, there may be more room for collaboration and shared leadership. This could involve building a team of leaders from different backgrounds, skill sets, and perspectives, which would bring a diversity of voices to the ministry's message. A more team-oriented approach could help to address a wider range of issues and engage a broader audience, ensuring that the ministry remains relevant and effective in its mission. Joni's retirement may also signal a shift in how the ministry interacts with its followers on a more personal level. For years, Joni has been the face of the ministry, and her personal connection with her audience has been one of the reasons for its success. Going forward, the leadership will need to find ways to continue this personal connection while allowing for a smoother transition to a new era of leadership. One possibility is that Joni may continue to play a role in the ministry, perhaps as an advisor or behind-the-scenes mentor, offering guidance and wisdom to the next generation of leaders. Fans of Joni Lamb have been vocal in their support throughout the transition. Many have expressed their gratitude for the impact Joni's ministry has had on their lives, and they are hopeful about the future of the organization. Some followers have expressed concerns about how the ministry will evolve, but most are trusting that the values and teachings Joni instilled will continue to guide the ministry moving forward. Joni's legacy is one of love and hope, and I believe her children will carry that torch with honor, one fan commented. We may not know what the future holds, but I trust that the ministry will continue to be a beacon of light in a world that desperately needs it. In conclusion, while the future of Joni Lamb's ministry is still unfolding, one thing is certain: the legacy she has built will continue to resonate for years to come. As her family steps into leadership, the ministry will likely undergo changes to adapt to the modern world, but the core values of faith, hope, and love will remain at the heart of the message. Joni's influence will continue to shape the future of the ministry, and while her retirement marks the end of one chapter, it also signals the beginning of a new era, filled with potential and possibility. With the support of her family, fans, and followers, the future of Joni Lamb's ministry is bright and full of promise.